Anthony Davis has played like a star this year. There's no doubt about it. There's no getting around it. I never expected in my wildest dreams for the brother to play 76 games, which he did this year. Major props to him. Him and LeBron James together played more minutes this year together than they did the last 2 seasons combined. That is a huge plus for the Los Angeles Lakers. And obviously, winning this game last night, it gives them 4 days rest. And then take this into consideration, y'all. Do you understand that Game 3, if I remember correctly, is either Game 3 or Game 4, there's going to be at Crypto.com Arena a week from Saturday. So you're talking about the span of, 9, 10 days, something like that, where you're only going to play about 3 games. And I think if you look at it from that perspective, they'll have their rest and what have you. And we have to remember, Dougie, that Anthony Davis would drop 40 on Jokic. The problem is that that's one game, and then he turned around the next game and only give you 11. The inconsistency is what plagued him, not incapability. That's the difference. We know what Anthony Davis is capable of because the brother can ball. He's big time. He can play. The question is he going to give it to you on a day in, day out, night in, night out basis? And when you open training camp by reminding everybody or revealing to everybody they were talking smack to you, they were belittling you, you were aching to get at them, you came here ready because you trying to make amends for what happened to y'all last year against them, you don't then go out and resemble what you were last year. You got to show up. I think Anthony Davis is fully capable of doing it, and I'm going to be very interested in watching him because nobody's going to stop Jokic, and Jokic throws up some shots that are just unguardable. It's like miracles. How the hell did he make that? And you see Anthony Davis himself rolling his eyes like, I can't believe this guy. But he shouldn't be able to stop Anthony Davis. You, if you want him that badly, should be in a position where you can match him tit for tat when you have the basketball. That's what I'm going to be looking to see from Anthony Davis.
Last 8 games against the Lakers, Jokic's numbers 27, 13, and 11. That's what he averages against the Lakers. 64% effective field goal percentage against Anthony Davis. Because that's the one thing people would always say, well, Anthony Davis, that's the kind of guy that gives Jokic trouble, long and athletic. No, he doesn't. He doesn't affect Jokic. Nothing affects Jokic. He has an answer for everything. So, Stephen A., I think you're onto something here. The solution for Anthony Davis, by the way, I have a lot of respect for what he did this year. You're absolutely right. He's beyond critique. He showed up every night. He didn't miss games with minor injuries. He played great. He's a force on both ends of the floor. Even last night when he didn't play great offensively, made one of the biggest hustle plays in the game by securing that offensive rebound on LeBron's air ball and finishing that play. Anthony Davis did that last night. A lot of respect for him. You don't beat Jokic in this series by thinking you're going to limit him or slow him down in some way. Here's how you get him. You get him by going at him. And Anthony Davis absolutely can do that. Anthony Davis can average 25, 26 points a game in this series. There is no question in my mind that he can do that against Jokic and be a defensive force with his rim protection. Now, here's where it gets a little bit dicey. The offensive rebounding is a major factor for Anthony Davis, really hard against Denver. Jokic gets all those defensive rebounds. And if you're AD and you're going in there repeatedly and you're not getting those balls, and Jokic has them, guess what now? Anthony Davis is the last guy up the court defensively. You got a problem on the other end of the floor because Denver's really good in the open floor. So that is one big element that I think Anthony Davis is not going to give you in this series. That's a big part of his game. There's no reason he can't go at Jokic and have success offensively, but don't think for a second. There is a game plan, personnel or scheme, that's going to throw Jokic off. He's seen it all. He overcomes it all. He's that good.
Stevie, quickly, I think the Lakers got to get game 1. They've played. Nuggets haven't played in a week. Nuggets have beaten them a million times in a row. They swept them last year. If the Nuggets win game 1, what's going to change in games 2, 3, or 4? Lakers got to give the Nuggets something to think about. So to me, as a sports fan, if I'm looking at it from a Laker perspective, you must get game 1. I think that's very important.
I don't feel that way. I don't feel they must get game 1. I feel they must get one of the first 2 in Denver. I do believe that, but I don't think it necessarily has to be game 1. That's number 1. Number 2, I want to say this as well. When we look at Denver, Denver's operating under a different umbrella this year. Last year, you were shooting and you were vying for your championship, and you were absolutely, utterly disgusted and felt disrespected because all anybody talked about was the Lakers, and the surge that they were on en route to going to the Western Conference Finals, okay? Well, now you're the hunted. You're the reigning defending NBA champions. And the Lakers are the one playing with house money because virtually no one expects them to win this series. And so because of that, it's going to be really interesting to see how the other dudes, because you know Jokic is Jokic, but it's going to really be interesting to see how the other dudes respond to that kind of, I don't want to say pressure because they can deal with that, but just having expectations placed on your shoulders where people are actually looking at the Lakers and you don't have an excuse of being annoyed and agitated, and ultimately that gets you up in a tizzy and gets you galvanized and ready to roar because you feel disrespected. No. The Lakers are the ones being disrespected coming into this series. They're the ones nobody expects to win. They're the ones we're wondering as to whether or not they're going to get swept. They're the ones we're sitting here talking about they better get one of the first two at home. Otherwise, we're going to pull out the broomsticks and all of this other stuff. Denver is playing under a different lens, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they respond to it.
Totally agree. I think three-point shooting is key for the Lakers. Russell and Reeves, they've got to make threes.
They got no shot without making their three-point shots.
Critical.
Zero.
And Stephen A., even going into last night, their last two games, those two players against New Orleans, they made 17 threes in two games between the two of them against the Pelicans, and they did it again last night. D'Angelo Russell, the biggest shot of the game, a corner three. Austin Reeves played really well. So we can talk about LeBron and AD a lot, and we will. They absolutely have to hold their own against Jokic and Murray. How are D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura, how are those guys going to give them, because this isn't a high-volume three-point shooting team. They're a little bit more selective. But those guys in this series against a really good defensive team are going to have big moments for this to be extended beyond 5 games.
Yeah. Lakers outscored by 15.5 points per 100 possessions this season against the Nuggets.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's get to.
I don't see it. I think Denver. I'm with Timmy.
Yeah.